Contact Station 31. You read me? Found something in the ice. We need some help down here. Can anybody hear me? We found something.
My second favorite movie of all time, The Thing, the ultimate in alien terror. When the movie Alien came out in 1979, it made creatures from space terrifying again. And then June 11th, 1982 came, and Hollywood released a little movie called E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And it taught us that aliens can be friendly too. They're not all trying to kill us. Well, 2 weeks later, The Thing was unleashed in theaters everywhere, and it said, no, screw that. There's plenty of examples of Hollywood taking a movie and remaking it, and that's exactly what The Thing is. It's a remake. The Thing from Another World, which tells the story of a US Air Force crew and scientists that find a flying saucer and accidentally revive an alien life form found frozen nearby. And this original movie was inspired by a story published in 1938 called Who Goes There? John Carpenter, the director of the 1978 classic Halloween, was such a huge fan of The Thing from Another World that it even showed up in that movie. Lori was watching it while she was babysitting, and just a couple years later, he'd find himself directing the remake, The Thing. A big part of what makes an effective horror movie is the setting. Alien put us in the claustrophobic isolation of deep space, and The Thing uses a similar tactic to create feelings of paranoia and fear. It takes place in Antarctica, undoubtedly the most isolated location you can find yourself in on planet Earth. The story starts off with a ship rocketing towards Earth and crashing, and fast forward to 1982, and we see a helicopter chasing a dog, shooting at it, and you feel kind of bad for it at first, because nobody likes seeing animals get hurt in movies. I sure as hell don't. Eventually, the dog and the shooter make their way near the American research base in Antarctica, and this guy's still shooting at the dog, acting like a maniac and yelling in Norwegian. Rightfully so, everybody thinks this guy's a nut job, and boom! The dog is saved. There's a lot of different characters on this base too. Honestly, most of them are there just to be victims later, which every horror movie needs characters to fit those roles, so we don't really delve too deep into most of them. The two most notable characters that are really the main ones in the movie are MacReady, played by Kurt Russell, and Childs, played by Keith David, the majestic voice of the Arbiter from the Halo series.
There are things about Halo even the hierarchs do not understand.
After the crazy yelling guy gets shot, the movie starts showing how isolated they are. They're in the coldest, loneliest place on Earth and can't even call for help.
Get a hold of anybody. We gotta report this mess.
Look, I haven't been able to reach shit in 2 weeks. I doubt if anybody's talked to anybody on this entire continent.
This is where you start feeling like something is wrong. MacReady leaves to go find the Norwegian research station where the guy came from and find out what's going on, and while he's gone, the dog they rescued earlier starts acting extremely suspicious. I remember watching these scenes when I was a kid, and something about how they were filmed makes them so unsettling. You can tell something isn't right with the dog. The dog's definitely a good actor. MacReady makes it to the Norwegian base, and clearly something's wrong. There's trails of blood on the floor, no one's left alive, and everything is trashed. And then you see the empty ice tomb. The Norwegian team found something in the ice, and whatever it is broke out. Outside, they find what looks like mangled, burnt bodies, and MacReady takes one back to the base. And once he takes it back, nobody knows what the hell they're looking at. And there's the dog again, staring suspiciously at them. Later that night, that's when all hell breaks loose. The rescued dog is in the pen with the other dogs, and it shows its true colors. This scene was absolutely horrifying. The dogs are yelping, trying to escape, and this thing is in there with them, swallowing them up and changing its form. So everyone comes running and sees this monster standing before them. And if you've been following my movie reviews, you know I'm a huge fan of props and animatronics before CG. And the thing uses all kinds of props to bring the monster to life. It looks fantastic, and I can't compliment it enough. If this exact movie were made today, the actors would be staring at nothing, and this thing would be 100% made on a computer. They decide to burn it with fire, but not before part of it escapes into the ceiling.
Damn it, Charles, torch it!
And this is the what the hell did I just see moment. Blair, the base doctor, does an autopsy on the creature they burned up and realizes that whatever this creature is imitates other life forms.
See, what we're talking about here is an organism that imitates other life forms, and it imitates them perfectly. That's not dog. It's imitation. We got to it before it had time to finish.
While MacReady was in the Norwegian base, he found some videotapes too, showing the location where they found something huge, and off he goes to investigate again. And once they get there, it's the UFO from the beginning of the movie, and they determine that it's been there for a really long time.
Jesus, how long you figure this has been in the ice?
I'd say the ice it's buried in is 100,000 years old, at least.
When the Norwegians found it, they excavated it, found the creature it was carrying frozen, and it somehow woke up and escaped. And I always feel like these kind of movies always have that one character that doesn't believe the obvious. Childs. He thinks it's a bunch of nonsense, which blows my mind on so many levels. He was there when the dogs were attacked. He saw what happened and what this creature could do. And you still don't believe it, dude? Come on.
You believe any of this voodoo bullshit, Blair? Now how's this motherfucker wake up after thousands of years in the ice? You buy any of this, Blair?
Oh, and here's another scene that horrified me as a child. Not only can the thing imitate animal life, but it can mimic you as a human if it absorbs you. They realize that one of the crew, Bennings, is gone, and the monster is becoming a copy of him. From this point forward, the situation in the movie is pure chaos, distrust, and paranoia. Now they know this alien could look and act like any living creature. Everyone's accusing each other of not being human. They're all slowly starting to lose their minds, and even the doctor has a mental breakdown.
That thing wanted to be us!
Come on, man, you don't want to hurt anybody.
I'll kill you!
With a bad storm rolling in and isolated from the rest of the world, this is one of the worst situations you can be in if you were transported into a movie. And of course, more of the crew eventually reveal themselves to be copies of the thing also. And what I really like about this movie monster is that unlike the Predator, for example, or Michael Myers or Jason, it looks completely different every time they show it. And it keeps you guessing what form it's going to take next. I don't even think we ever see its true form, if it even has one. It could have just spent its entire life absorbing all kinds of creatures, constantly turning into something different, almost like a virus, if you will.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Eventually, everyone decides to do a blood test to figure out who's human and who's not. The thing imitates life forms, so any organs and even blood isn't real. So MacReady takes some blood from everybody and applies heat to it. In theory, if blood from the thing gets burned, it should feel pain since it's not actually real blood. And it works. The crew goes to test Blair, who they locked up after he had his breakdown, and notice that he's completely gone. He's been stealing equipment to build what looks like some kind of escape craft, proving that he was also absorbed.
It's a ship of some kind?
With most of the crew dead or possibly alien, MacReady decides to just blow up the entire base, and at the same time the thing is running around absorbing people as Blair. And while setting the explosives, the monster appears in front of MacReady in its biggest form yet.
Fuck you too!
And he blows the entire base, presumably destroying it. And the ending of the movie is so haunting and mysterious, I love it. MacReady and Childs are the only two left, and with the base destroyed, they have nowhere to go. These two men, who aren't even sure if the other one is still human or not, just sit down, have a conversation, and a drink, leaving it a mystery whether they survived or not. Unless you play the 2002 video game, which has you playing as a special forces team investigating what happened. In the game, you find Childs' frozen body, and MacReady is nowhere to be found until he shows up at the end in a helicopter, revealing that he did survive the movie. Now, of course, we don't know if this story is officially what happened after the movie. I personally prefer the mysterious ending of the movie that leaves you with some questions to wonder about. This is the perfect movie to watch on a cold, dark night. Turn off the lights, crank up the volume, and if it's snowing outside, even better. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and a comment down below. And don't forget to tune in to GamerThumbTV next Thursday for another episode of Button Smash when I review the Capcom Super Nintendo classic, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. This is Fabian, and I'm out of here. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my other videos. I've got plenty of content for you to enjoy. Till next time.